It's so true that some leaders spark innovation while others shut it down. If you want to be known as the tech leader who sparks innovation and inspires their team, I'm going to share with you this concept that's called the yes and mindset. It's a powerful tool for fostering creativity and collaboration. And we're going to dive into how it can elevate your leadership, when to use it, when not to use it. So stick around and let's explore what this mindset really means and how it can impact not just your leadership style, but the entire culture of your team and your organization. The yes and principle originated in the world of improv in the 1950s to keep scenes flowing and collaborative. It encouraged participants in the improv to accept what others contribute by saying yes, and then expand on that idea by saying and. This principle has been adopted in business and organizational settings to allow ideas to build and evolve without being immediately shut down. It contrasts with a no but mindset, which introduces limitations that can stifle innovation. Let's talk about how it applies in leadership. Let's start with the yes and leader. This is the type of leader who embraces possibilities when someone brings up an idea, even if it's a bad idea or a bit out there. The yes and leader doesn't immediately shoot it down. Instead, they say, yes, and how can we make that work? It's about building on these ideas and encouraging creativity and fostering an environment where innovation can thrive. In the corporate world, many innovative companies are known for their yes and culture. Now let's talk about the flip side, the no but leader. This leader tends to focus on limitations almost always. And when presented with a new idea, their first instinct is to think about what could go wrong. No, but that's too risky. No, but we don't have enough resources. No, but we've never done it that way before. And I get it. This mindset often comes from a place of caution. In tech, especially when you're dealing with complex systems and tight deadlines, it's easy to fall into the trap of playing it safe. But here's the thing. When you consistently respond with no, and the key word here is consistently, you're not just shutting down ideas, you're also shutting down innovation. You're telling your team that it's safe to stick with what we have rather than explore new possibilities. And over time, that can lead to stagnation, which leads to a decline in innovation, much like what happened with Blockbuster and other tech giants that failed to adapt, ultimately resulting in their downfall. I want you to take a moment to think about yourself as a leader. When I was thinking about this video, I took an honest and deep look into how I've been as a leader and what could I have done more of or less of. So be honest. Are you more of a yes and leader or a no but leader? Reflect on your recent interactions with your team. When was the last time someone came to you with an idea that wasn't fully baked, and how did you respond? Did you encourage them to explore it further, or did you immediately point out the flaws? Or is it a combination of both? Here's the thing. It's not just about what you say, it's also about the energy you bring into the room. Because a yes and leader brings positivity, openness, curiosity. A no but leader, on the other hand, can create an atmosphere of hesitation, caution. So which one are you and which one do you want to be? Now flip the script. Think about your own experience working under different leaders. Which leader do you prefer working with? The one who always says no, or the one who says yes and? How does each response make you feel? Energized, motivated, or frustrated and deflated? I'm willing to bet that when you're met with a yes and response, it makes you feel more valued, respected. It makes you want to contribute more, push boundaries, and think creatively. On the other hand, a no but response can be like a cold shower. It kills momentum. It makes you second guess your ideas. So think about that. What kind of leader do you want to be, and what kind of leader do you want to work for? Let's dig a little deeper. Why do some leaders gravitate towards being no but leaders? I've seen this happen a lot in tech, especially with engineers who move into leadership roles or even leaders who've been managers for a long time. It often comes from a good place, from a place of wanting to protect the team, wanting to avoid failure, and sometimes it comes from just being overwhelmed with the day-to-day challenges. As engineering leaders, we know that major outages can occur from simple mistakes. I remember the time we were rewriting our deployment pipeline in a very innovative way, and someone accidentally deleted the live environment. It was a major outage with significant customer impact and financial repercussions. This experience could have taught us to avoid innovation out of fear, but instead our team used it as a learning opportunity, and we ensured that such a mistake could never ever happen again by implementing a system where servers are pinged to make sure that they're offline before any deletion command is executed. This mindset shift from avoiding risks to learning from them is crucial in leadership and in innovation specifically. In the tech world, we are trained to identify risks, find bugs, fix problems. It's just part of the job, and it's part of what makes you a great leader, really. So it's natural to carry that mindset with us. But here's the danger. If you're always looking for what can go wrong, you're not leaving room for what can go right. And that's where the no-but mindset can hold you back as a leader. On the flip side, let's talk about what makes a leader gravitate towards that yes and mindset. It's usually a combination of confidence, experience, and a deep understanding of the value of collaboration. A yes and leader knows that innovation doesn't happen in isolation. It happens when diverse ideas come together, when people are encouraged to think outside the box, and when there's a culture of trust and openness. These leaders aren't afraid of failure because they see it as part of the process. They're willing to take calculated risks, and that's a key term here, calculated risks, because they know that's where growth happens. More importantly, they understand that their role isn't just to manage, it's to inspire their team to grow and innovate. How are you in your personal life? When your family or friends suggest a new restaurant to try, do you immediately say, no, I don't want to try something new? Or when someone proposes a board game for game night, is your first reaction, this is too complicated? How about when you're planning a trip with someone, do you say, I don't know if the weather might be bad or not? These are all small, everyday examples of how the no-but mindset can show up in your personal life. It can create friction and even discourage others from sharing their ideas with you. Think about how much more enjoyable your personal life could be if you embrace the yes and mindset with your loved ones. It's not necessarily about agreeing, it's about building on each other's ideas to create more meaningful experiences together. This is important because how you show up in one area of your life often reflects how you show up in others. If you're a no-but person at home, chances are you're bringing the same energy to work. So take a moment to reflect. Are you nurturing a culture of possibility in your personal relationships? And if not, how can you start? Why should you strive to be a yes and leader? I think because that's where the magic happens. That's where innovation, creativity, and growth thrive. When you create a culture where ideas are welcomed and explored, you're creating an environment where people feel safe to take risks, to experiment, and to push boundaries. When should you strive to be a yes and leader? The yes and approach is particularly valuable during brainstorming sessions, product development, creative problem solving. It fosters an environment where ideas are not immediately shut down, but are instead built upon, encouraging team members to contribute without the fear of rejection. Being a yes and leader doesn't mean you say yes to everything. I want to be clear about that. It means you're open to possibilities and you're willing to explore them with your team. It means you value collaboration over control. It means you see the potential in every idea, no matter how small or unpolished it might be. I also need to acknowledge that there are many situations where being a no-but leader is necessary. In tech, we're often dealing with tight deadlines, limited resources, high stakes, and there are times when you have to be the one to say no, but this isn't feasible right now, or no, but we need to focus on the priorities we've already committed to. So the key is balance. It's about knowing when to protect your team from unnecessary risks and when to encourage them to think bigger. It's about being strategic with your no but moments so they don't become your default response. Can you change your leadership style? Absolutely. All starts with awareness. If you've recognized that you tend to lean towards no but, then that's the first step. The next step is to consciously practice the yes and mindset. Start small, maybe in your next team meeting or brainstorming session. Try building on someone's idea instead of immediately pointing out the flaws. Over time, this mindset will become more natural and you'll start to see the impact it has on your team's creativity, on your team's collaboration. Leadership isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing to grow, to adapt, and to inspire those around you. So as you head into your next meeting or even your next conversation with a loved one, ask yourself, am I going to be a yes and leader today? Am I going to create space for possibilities, for innovation, for growth? Because that's what true leadership is all about. If this resonated with you, hit that like button, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more leadership insights, and let's keep building together.